Hi, Lisa Carlson here, and I am giving you some networking tips today. And it came about after polling several women saying that they want more help with networking, more help with speaking. So I decided to create a series based on networking. And interestingly enough, the universe delivers me an experience that I had not had in quite a while. So it was great to have that experience to set up for today's discussion. I recently attended a networking event, a women's event outside of my area, and I am an extrovert. I love networking, and I find that I can handle just about any type of situation when it comes to meeting new people. When I went to this event, there was no structure. It was just a meet and greet. And I found myself hovering in the corner a little bit. I didn't see an opportunity where I was welcomed, which is okay because that was the nature of the event. I have probably issues with that, but in either case, it's okay. You go into a room, there isn't a welcoming committee, and that's all right. But I did find myself hovering, and so I decided to take an opportunity to observe the area. And these were women that knew each other for a long time. Maybe there were some new people. And I saw that there was some body language. There were a lot of closed circles. It was quite interesting. So I can imagine that someone who is more of an introvert or not seasoned in the networking opportunities would feel intimidated, because even I was intimidated. So I decided to buy some time at the bar, figure out a menu, figure out what should I have. That bought me a little time. And once that was done, I actually turned to the person next to me. Hi, how are you? That one's easy. That one's really easy. So what we're going to discover here is I'm going to give you a few ways to introduce yourself to maybe a not so easy natural flow. Or maybe you don't have a host that's introducing you to the next person. So what I'd like to share with you is, how would you go about making yourself introduced? You came all this way to the event. You must stay at least a considerable amount of time. 10 minutes won't do it. So what I do is I actually look for something, and I will actually stand next to a group, wait for a moment that maybe a conversation is ending or eye contact, and I'll say, hi, my name's Lisa Carlson. I'm new today, or this is my second time being at this event. Generally, that does it. Oh, well, hello, this is so-and-so and this is so-and-so. That's most of the time, that's the best type of introduction to make. I'm new, or this is my first event, I'm just checking it out. It's very difficult for people that are shy, and even more difficult when the group is a little rounded and you can't see a way in. But I promise you that if you just make that introduction, that will be okay. Someone next to you will take a moment to talk to you, things like that. So let's say you do that, you have an interaction, and then you excuse yourself naturally, it just happens, and you're looking for someone else to talk to, but you turn around and there are all kinds of closed circles. You do the same thing. You go to a group, you wait for a moment. Hi, my name's Lisa. This will naturally fold in. So it's very difficult. It's one of the most difficult things in networking to do, is to make that first step. And even myself, I found myself having difficulty last week with that. However, once you master that, then there's no problem going forward. You'll have the opportunities to keep going in the conversation. All right, so you've mastered the hardest thing, which is the introduction, or the opportunity to meet when there's no host or there's no greeting committee. I think that's number one. And if you just believe in yourself, that you just say, hi, my name's Lisa, you're going to know where that conversation goes. Don't worry about it. The other thing that I might do is I might ask someone to introduce me to someone. If you've made a connection already, ask them, who else in the room might I meet with? Or who else in the room do you think I should be introduced to? That's a great way to get the next conversation flowing. Okay, so you've made the hard choice of approaching, intimidating yourself. Hi, my name's Lisa. And then that should open up. So if you can remember to ask, well, who else should I be introduced? Or can you introduce me to someone else? That's going to lighten your load for the next round. Okay, Now, one thing to remember is I want you to be able to remember that this is about connecting. So make sure that you do not overwhelm yourself. You're going to meet 1, 2, maybe 3 good connections. You can have some off-topic conversations. Hi, how are you? Yeah, great. Isn't the food wonderful? That's fine. But you should make no more than probably 3, depending on how long you're at this event, connections where you actually get yourself engaged, have a conversation, whether that's about your business or whether it's about children or the weather or something more that flows. And one thing that I think is an interesting question that I'm going to arm you with is something that is open-ended. However, they get to choose what topic they're going to share with you, which is, so when you're not here, how do you fill your days? See, the reason I do that is because I met someone who was retired. I didn't realize they were retired until they told me 20 minutes later. So it's important to understand that not everyone is working and not everyone wants to talk about their business first. I know it's interesting when you go to a networking event, but there's more to that. And the third thing about that is really great is that they're going to tell you their passion, the first thing that comes to their mind. And so now you have a great opportunity to connect with something that they like, that they are passionate about, that they enjoy. And that's going to be a great in for you to keep that conversation going, because networking is about them. All right? So remember, get one staple question that's open-ended, something like, how do you fill your days? Or what do you usually do on weekends? Or what's a typical Monday look like for you? Things like that will offer you an opportunity to glean what they think is important. Beautiful piece to understand where their train of thought goes. Okay, so I've told you 1, how to get yourself introduced. I've given now 2, a topic or a question that you should be thinking of when you're running out of things to ask or don't know how to start or initiate a conversation. I also want you to understand that every conversation isn't going to be of value. And that sounds horrible because I value each and every person I meet, which is you should, but not each conversation is going to gel with you, and that's okay. And so now you found yourself a little uninterested or bored and you want to get out of it. And it's okay. It's okay to understand that not every interaction is something that we should be always developing. It's just the way it is. So how do you get out of a conversation? How would you get out of a conversation? Well, I mean, I guess you could just turn your back and go. Or you could just wait until naturally there's an opportunity to say, I have to go to the restroom, or excuse me. But quite frankly, there's no real easy way to get out of a conversation. So you look for a moment and you say, it was wonderful to meet you. I'm going to go ahead and mingle a little bit more. Or it was wonderful to hear about your day. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to excuse myself now. Simple, to the point, and it just severs it. So that if you said, I'm going to go to the bathroom, you're now obligated to walk to the bathroom, and you don't even have to go. So be careful about using excuses that aren't, because they could be watching you. They might be like, oh, really? All of a sudden she has to go to the body? Well, probably, maybe you do. But really, if you're just authentic and say, thank you for your time. It was great to meet you. I wish you much success. I'm going to go ahead and meet a few more people since I'm here. It's easy to do. Easy to do. Or you could actually ask them for someone else to meet. Great to meet you. Is there anybody in the room that you think would be somebody I could talk to? Maybe not, because you're just wanting to get away from that person. But it's important to realize that if you're there and you want to make quality connections and you're not being drawn in by an individual, it's completely fine. You just have to find a way to excuse yourself sooner than later. I know I talk about the good stuff and I talk about the not so good stuff. That's why we're here. Women, Wine, and Whiskey is about not just the good stuff that we can do, but we have to talk about some of these awkward, uncomfortable things. Nobody's going to remember later that you bailed on somebody who was telling you about something that was completely boring. All right, so that's 3 steps for you. Remember, introduce yourself, even if it's difficult and it seems like you're closed off, body language, but that's okay. Have a staple question that you ask when you don't know what to say. And then also excuse yourself when you feel that you're not being able to connect fully. That's an indicator. I'll wrap up with one final point, which is please do not be a business card buffoon. And what that means is I do not want you to go out there and collect every business card of every person you talk to. Now, with this examples I share with you, if you have a connection and you want to continue that, and you truly want to continue that, make sure you get a business card. If you have a connection and you're not really interested in connecting, do not ask for a business card. However, if they do put one in your hand, you say thank you, okay? But do not offer up your business card or ask for a business card if you do not have any intention of continuing that conversation. The last thing is make sure you have business cards or some way of getting a hold of you. It's very frustrating when you make a connection and you're not able to get your card to them if they ask you. So what you could do is, if you do run out of business cards, because it happens, can I put my phone number in your phone? And also, can I have your phone number? So that way they feel like you are interested. Because there's been times where neither of you have had a business card. So now what do you do? So be sure that you do have business cards as often as possible. It's my pleasure to help you with networking. Remember, it's about the connection and putting yourself out there and being true to yourself always. All right? Happy connecting. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts, please feel free to email me, make comments, share this if you think it's important to someone else, and we'll continue making those valuable connections.